ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि। भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to everyone who are all listening to this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I hope you are all keeping well and healthy, as in general situation in Mumbai as regard to COVID infection is improving. We all are waiting for the municipal corporations and government of Maharashtra's instruction. As they find it feasible, these restrictions will be lifted off, and then, like in the past, all devotees would be able to participate in person in all the usual festivities which are held at the mutt. As of now, devotees can come and have darshan, but they cannot gather beyond a certain limit. So that is so far what is in the mutt. All our sadhus, staffs, they have joined after the record. Many had as I said in the last class, they had contracted the virus infection. Now, so most of them are well and doing their duties, and no staffs. Today, our Brahmachari Maharaj, who serves in the temple, he got positive in the morning, so he is isolated and quarantined. Rest is well. So, fortunately, this variant of the virus, Omicron, is not that toll-taking. There is no such health crisis as such, apart from being technically positive on the paper. Anyhow, so that is the update about the mutt. And as we had posted on our YouTube as a notice that Swami Satyadevanandaji Maharaj would take the class then on Friday on Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So last Friday it was Ekadashi, but next Friday again it is Tithi Puja of Swami Trigunathithanandji Maharaj. So Maharaj will not be taking the class. Okay. So after that, the next Friday to the next coming Friday, then only he will take the class. So please note it. We will again put the notice. So that is how things are going on here. So I hope you are also managing and trying to cope with the situation. So here we are in the Dhyana Yoga. We are looking at the set of these three verses, 24, 25 and 26. The 26th verse, which we touched it and we saw its meaning. So these three verses as such, as I had said, they form the very crux, very soul, very substance, very core of the struggle of meditation, of the control of the mind, controlling the mind and driving it, training it, disciplining it to go into meditation. So in the 24th verse, and we saw that what is being said, it is said about the giving up of desires and controlling of the senses, indriya gramam, all the group of the senses, disciplining by the mind. Then in the 25th verse it was said that disengage your mind, which is engrossed uparamet with the help of buddhi, and hold it on steady with the help of the faculty which is called dhruti, dharana, the faculty of assimilation, dhruti, the faculty with which this assimilation becomes possible, the assimilation which is the function of this faculty, dhruti. The clearer understanding, what we say, or the going deeper than the understanding, which becomes like your reflex, like your instinct, you digest it. That faculty is called dhruti. And then establishing your mind in the pursuit of the self-consciousness, oriented towards that self-consciousness, then do not engage your mind, do not feed your mind, or do not let your mind form any wave. No vritti should be formed. That should be, now this would be possible. There are two things that here this situation shows that no waves is formed. There are two things here, how wave will not be formed. One is chitta. Chitta must cooperate and very thoroughly. It must be integrated with your general plan. The general plan here is of meditating. That this is your will, that you want to meditate, that mind should go absolutely calm without any waves. This is your desire, this is your will, this is what you want to do, and chitta must cooperate wholeheartedly, fully, that it is not throwing any more sanskaras on the surface. Chitta is what we know as the repository of all other past impressions. So this is very nicely explained, that any action takes place at any instance, any experience. So these two things, action and experience. In experience, so to say, karta, the person who is experiencing is like a subject. The things are being acted upon him, and in the action he is acting. In any case, in both these cases, there is something expression, what we call what happens in the outside world, and there is something called as impression, what we call as samskaras, which goes and are registered and noted. Now, impressions, how they work, they so to say, now anything happens in the world, in any action, it is always these things are happening with the help of nama and rupa. for that instance. Okay. Like suppose I become angry and saying condemning someone in a very strong word. Now that is the instance. There is action. I am condemning. I am speaking. There is a mental state which I am experiencing within, with the agitatedness, irritations, then what's that vexed up state, totally stirred up state that is experiencing. That is what is happening within. It is happening outside, regardless of the reason. This is what is going on. So there is a person, there is a reason, and they are very particular. Okay, this what we call as nama rupa. But now there are generalized things, more generalized. So I might say that I will not tolerate this kind of behavior or this kind of lazy attitude or whatsoever. I might say that. So this is a general thing. It is more so from Namarupa, from a very particular instances, very particular components of that particular instance. Now it is more like a principle. Whenever that situation will happen, the next person, whosoever is responsible, he can expect that I will become angry and I will, point that out and I will condemn that. Now it is a more generalized situation. Here, depending upon the person, how he sees, whether his anger now is only related to the issue, whether it is principle based or it has slowly got attached to the person, the particular person. In any case, what happens, how your impressions work, that's what I am trying to convey. Now, in suppose that person is very clear, whosoever suppose getting angry, suppose I am very clear that it is about the issue, it is about the principle, it is not about the person. So in that case, nama rupa or this kind of the person whosoever is involved, that particular sub instances, they will wash out easily. That person again comes in a different context. I am not angry over him or her or whatsoever. So as soon as, because that is not the context, that is not the situation, immediately, because it is issue based, I am not angry with the person. I can deal with all other things, interact and exchange like all usual, it is not affected. But if my anger is stick to that nama and rupa, to that person, then even if he does good, I have a negative outlook towards that person. Negative outlooks towards that person. Now, in both these cases, now how impressions are gathered? Impressions, they become, what you call like reflexes. They guide, they sitting in your subconscious, they heavily influence your thinking, behavior, your reactions to any particular kind of stimuli, maybe a principal situation which categorizes, which is conditioned by such principle or that person. So your impressions now, regardless of situations, I mean, in one case might be there is even if I see a little instance or might be a little seed or chance or potential that might that situation might come up, that I am already alert. I might already react. That see, this should not happen. I am seeing these kinds of thing. Or that person, suppose, so impressions, they become blind. Impressions are not, they are not a deliberate thought process. They immediately see the instance and react. See the symptom, see the just in the it is like your overprotective mind in its self-defense now want to nip everything in the bud before anything starts. So this is how it shapes now things as they go on repeating, how your character, how your mind, how your behavior, they take a structure, a color, a texture. that person, so to say, if is always fearful, always so some kind of situation, they gave a shape to that character of that person. He is always fearful, so he will be apprehensive, he will always trying to defend, he will not be able to trust anyone, etc., etc. Insecurity, that complex, it will develop and prowl over in various ways. So when we say that na kinchidapi chintayet, so there are two situations that your chitta, the repository of these all impressions, which is like it gives a direction, like a vector to the total momentum of your force, of your will, everything. So generally, seeing your mind in its subconscious, what you might need, like you are supposed to eat, your stomach gives a signal, gastric juices are released, and that pang you feel, what is known as hunger or thirst or whatsoever. If you are infected, your body raises the temperature, and you feel that fever, and it makes you go drowsy or do not work, gives that feeling you are supposed to rest. Suppose then the body will utilize all your energy to counter the infection of the virus or bacteria or whatever. So you are not only all conscious and deliberate being. There is lot of things which is going on your subconscious, which are like automated, and these things are sometimes they are beyond your reach. Like you cannot decide if you are infected not to get fever. Can you? No. But this was slowly, at once upon time, this slowly situation, these things evolved in the pursuit of self-defense, self-preservation. All right? So, what you consider as a good thing, suppose you eat a fruit, it is sweet, and your body, your brain tells you that this is good, you should eat it, and it is very nutritive and it helps you. It is beneficial to you in various ways. So similarly, many other things. You feel you fell down and you hurt, and body it hurts because body wants to draw, your brain wants to draw attention to that portion which there is an injury, that you should tend to it, otherwise it can create a greater problem, etc. So your mind, in that strain, in that way, it is always trying to engage you in some pursuit or other. That if you are doing nothing, and then probably your energies, they are not properly vented out, they are not properly challenged, then you feel suffocating, and your mind might prop up that eat something, or go watch something, some television or movie, or call a friend or something, or you can do this, do that. So many thought waves in your what your mind already knows, what you have been already doing, what had been already happened. So chitta is throwing samskaras. So it is mostly in pursuit that you, in this anticipation, that you want to engage in some action or other. Even of thinking, deliberating, or whatsoever. So chitta is always in this kind of as if you are so much too alert, your servant, that probably you want something even if you may not, and he still brings you something. That kind of entity, that chitta, functions like that. Now when you have desire that chitta should go completely calm, that I do not want to hear any knock from your side, no input I want from your side, and chitta cooperates to that extent. This is something, a great thing, and one can experience this, that chitta is not throwing any sanskara on the surface of that pool of water, what we call antakarana. Where waves are formed, that is the surface. Repository is beneath it. So it does not throw any waves on the surface. And there is the other part, that even if there is a pop-up of like a notification which comes on your phone, that you might think about this, you may like to consider that, or etc etc. Probably you might want to pay attention to this, that I am reminding you, etc. So chitta is functioning in that way. But you might choose to not look at those notifications. So this is the other side of the mind, which has developed that will and able to completely ignore that, not to engage into that, not to further go into it. This situation will happen first, that your ability to ignore those notifications, those pop-ups by the chitta. So this is the 25th verse, na kinchit api chintayet, and then only that complete, slowly, gradually that person trains his mind, disciplines, and chitta gets the message, he participates into it, it becomes, that chitta becomes the integral part of the process, and then only this situation, this experience can happen to that yogi, na kinchit api chintayet. Even after that, that's what is this thought is being carried forward, that even after that, if mind goes astray, it tries to takes up a thought, yato yada nischarati, that it is like balat, with forcefully, like a rebel child, that whenever from the object of your meditation, that it becomes, goes astray, takes up a thought and want to, this will happen when you are practicing meditation. You are disciplining your mind, and this will be common experience, that mind goes away from the track which we had decided, that yogi has decided to follow the route. Instead of that, he is going the other way. So whenever it happens, tata, whenever means in another destination it is seeking, so to bring back that mind, tata niyamya niyamya etat, discipline it, niyamya etat, this mind, atmani eva, atmanneva. So in the self itself, it should be vasham nayet, it should be taken into the control of it should be taken into the control, vasham nayet, it should be taken into the control, vasham nayet. So it is as if this, I said, this is it should means it could be said that it should be bring back, and here the words are used, it should be taken into the control, it should be laid into the control, like driven into the control. What feelings it gives when these kinds of words are used, what impressions we get? If it is brought back to me, so it is me, that is mine, that mind is mine, then it is coming to me, it is the sense of affection is there, sense of attachment is there to the mind, which is to be brought back. It has to be established in the mind, but this has to be driven into the control, vasham nayat, it should be taken, laid into the control, vasham nayat. So there is a sense of detachment. There is a sense of detachment, not to entangle. It's an entity. It must be, means there is passionless, dispassionate attitude towards the mind. Not to treat it with kids' gloves, not to treat it with any sympathy. It should be taken into control. Not to do that. That's it. So do not fall prey to its this emotional blackmail, or do not become soft. Become very clear. It should be taken into control. That is the thing. Vasham nayat. So whenever that happens, whenever from the path of the meditation this mind swerves, it should be laid into the control. Atmani eva vasham nayat. So it should be disciplined. Niyamya etat atmani eva vasham nayat. In the self itself, it should be laid under the control. So this is the 26th verse. Now this 27th and 28th verse, what does it say? It shows the maturity and fruit of this yogic sadhana. What will happen when the person gets established into this sadhana? How, where it will take him or her, or where it will usher him, where it will go when this meditation becomes successful and he is doing it consistently and it is improving its quality over the period of time, and he trains his mind to remain steady in that meditation. What will happen? So prashanta manasam, this is the next verse, 27th verse. Prashanta manasam henam hi enam yoginam sukham uttamam upayati shanta rajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. So this is the 27th verse. Prashanta manasam henam yoginam sukham uttamam upayati shanta rajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. So this yoginam, this yogi, enam means this, he means ended. His mind becomes prashantam. Manasam means mind. That Bhagavan Shankaracharya says that prashantam iti prakarshena shantam, that extraordinarily quiet. Prashantam. So, very conspicuously, such a stillness of the mind he attains. And he attains thus uttamam sukham, the best or the very higher, purer category of this sukham, happiness, the bliss, the pleasure, uttamam sukham. So, and upayati shanta rajasam, this person's, his rajas is qualified by that restlessness, that becomes shanta, his shanta rajasam, that initiatives, his karma spriha that is there, that he want to act, he want to go into an action. So that slowly calms down, or we can use the word dies down. Shanta rajasam, his rajas becomes as if obliterated. It dies down. And what remains? There remains this sattva. Sattva is qualified by lightness. The light in the sense of, in two sense, in the sense of the enlightenment, that viveka is always effulgent, it never shrouded. And that it becomes his nature, he does not have to anymore practice it. He lives it. It becomes his nature. He becomes that viveka. He does not have to exercise it deliberately. That sattva is always there. The tamasa has of course left it, so it is not said it. So the rajasa which was there, which was obstructing all the time, becoming a trouble in meditating that mind, disciplining the mind, that has calmed down, that has died down. Absolutely. That's why Shanta Rajasam, this person. And this Upayati Shanta Rajasam, he attains that. Upayati iti, that he reaches that, means he attains that state, Shanta Rajasam. Brahma Bhutam, that his mind, that person, he attains that state as if becoming one with that consciousness, which he was pursuing as a goal of his meditation. the aim of his meditation. He was oriented, constantly focusing on it, constantly steady his mind so that it reflects, mind dives down and it becomes very evident in its natural glory. So now, as if he has become one with it, Brahma Bhutam and Akalmasham. Now his all sins, all taints, all stains which his mind had gathered through this journey, they have been completely gotten rid of. He has become free of it, Akalmasham. There is no stain on his mind, on his heart, that his all ego, all selfishness has completely removed, completely washed off. He has attained the purity of that Brahman itself. The consciousness of that Brahman itself. He is that individual, that yogi. He or she has attained that state. So this is the maturity, this is the fruit of this Dhyana Yoga. So this also signifies these things. It implies that if we are traveling in this direction, so at least in degrees, at least in very minuscule sense, it must reflect, we must get the taste of it. People, many times, this is not to be misunderstood, that many times people try to pretend that I have become like that. Pretension can go to such an extent that person can actually believe he is like an enlightened soul. He can truly believe that he is enlightened soul, which is far from the truth. So pretension is very dangerous, thinking yourself. So it is not matter of believing you are enlightened. It is a matter of the experience. There is no two ways about it. Because this thing becomes so complex and so complicated that when people try to pretend, they have to resolve so many things, explain so many things, and successfully they do so over a period of time. And you can see that illusion become so fortified, so strong and deep rooted, that it is almost impossible to get rid of it. It can become, we see this such kind of state of the people. So being aware of your failure, it is far better than having an ignorant belief that you are a very great person. So this is very dangerous state. So suppose I do 15-minute meditation in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, and then rest other time I try to behave like like Buddha himself. And this is very dangerous thing. Sometimes you get upset and something you behave very violently and you dictate and sermonize everyone how to live their life. It's a pathetic state. It is not pretending to be living like a Buddha. One has to have experience of that. Then what it turns you into Buddha, and not necessarily we have sometimes very wrong impression of what is the state of an enlightened person. We have many times very foolishly imagine this state, these ideas. Many times maybe as people portray it in movies, in stories and etc. so many ways. You see, there have been enlightened people as much as in recent times, very recent times. There were no doubts about that, even up to 1980s in Maharashtra. So that Ganesh Puri Swami, probably Nityananda of Ganesh Puri. Then there was Swami, he was Nisargadatta Maharaj. He died very late, maybe in 1980s or something. or of a very little farther, but Raman Maharshi. Maybe he probably died somewhere in 1950s. Some, I do not know. I might, but still comparatively very recent times. And you can with absolute certainty you can say that they were absolutely enlightened soul. There are no two words about it, no two minds about it. We have very wrong idea about how the enlightened people behave, and we try to imagine and act like that. Acting won't help. That's why, means especially I see in the traditions of Ramakrishna Mutt and Ramakrishna Mission, when I became monk, so to say, or like many whosoever who become monk here, traditionally, means we are attracted to Swami Vivekananda, his teachings, and then come here and then little bit of Sri Ramakrishna, his spiritual life, his spiritual ideas, his spiritual height, his exceptional life, etc. But it takes a lot of time to understand Holy Mother. But at this juncture, many times I used to say that if you have little bit of intellectual disposition, you have clarity of the intellect, you have developed your logical faculties, you can appreciate Vivekananda. You have little bit of sattva, you have little bit of spiritual disposition, you can highly appreciate Sri Ramakrishna. But to appreciate Holy Mother, truly, you at least must have done a regular spiritual exercise, discipline, dhyan, jap, etc. At least for 12 to 15 years. Before that, I would be very apprehensive if you would have really appreciating someone for what they stand. Many times the devotees of the appreciating Mother, mostly sentimental or emotional look. But for truly one who want to, for every one of us, even for us monk, when I joined the order, very elderly monks, they told me that her life and teaching is alone the manual for our living. For monks, she was a householder woman living, a widow living in a village amongst her relatives. And now I today very much understand that yes, that is true. Her life and teaching, that's how an enlightened person lives. The life of Holy Mother. Life of Sri Ramakrishna and life of Swami Vivekananda, they are but just demos. They are just demos. We cannot live like that. Do not be mistaken, ever. Swamiji said that if you see any rascal trying to imitate me, kick him out the right next moment, the same moment. There cannot be another Vivekananda. Do not try to, we cannot imitate that. Our imitation is imitation of Holy Mother's footstep only. That is the manual of our life. How enlightened person lives, how we work, how we as very insignificant and very weak people, very good for nothing spiritual aspirant, we can only hope to live. I'm not teaching or preaching or saying or suggesting any emotionalism or sentimentalism. We see that very much in Holy Mother's life, and people very much mistaken it for sentimentalism. There is a difference. How we express love, kindness and other noble emotions, and how Holy Mother expresses. There is a difference. The difference lies in the basis. Our basis of our emotions is our ego, Nam Rupa. That always traps us. Hers is always the divinity, the consciousness, Sat Chit Ananda. That is the difference. Our emotions makes us worldly. Her emotions is always keeping her divine. There is a difference. How enlightened people how enlightened great soul live on this earth. The example to look at is Holy Mother's life. If that is always will be matter of great deliberation, cogitation, and to understand our own life and chalk out our own path. That would be the Holy Mother's life and teaching. So, understanding of her teachings and of her life, definitely it is not going to come without spiritual development. That is for sure. So, this is the idea. So, this person, this yogi, he attains to such state, prashanta manasam, that his mind becomes extraordinarily still, and he attains to this very higher dimension of bliss, very higher experience, which is not brought by senses, by the mind stuff. Your mind cannot deliver it. It is something of the other dimension, sukham uttamam, and his rajas has calmed down absolutely. He has attained that oneness with the consciousness, that his dream as if has extinguished, that delusion has now disappeared, that spell has broken, Brahma Bhutam, and this is how he has attained to that purity, akalmasham. Like karma, once done is done. It is like a line in a black rock. It cannot be changed. So there is no way, but this is the only way. When you break past from that illusion that you are the karta, you are the doer, and when you realize rather that you are but that consciousness, that Sat Chit Ananda, and this Nama Rupa are but upadhis. They are but the apparent reality. That is not the truth. This is what you are. Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Svabhava, Atma. And this is how the purity is attained. That you are free of all stains, all taints. There is nothing remaining. You carry no burden. You are free. So this is the state. This is the maturity. This is the enlightenment. This is freedom. This is what is called as moksha. This is what is called as moksha. This is mukti. Mukti is not somewhere you go into somewhere, means heavenly kingdom, which is, imagine this, it is good for kids that everything is made up of gold. Suppose you are ever young, or whatever however your imagination can be stretched. You are imagining. So going to Swarga, this is mukti, becoming free here in this body with this mind, attaining this enlightenment. So this is the 27th verse. What is said next? Yunjan evam sada atmanam yogi vigata kalmasha. Vigata kalmasha. The one who has got rid of all his sins in this way, as described in the last verse, vigata kalmasha. That yunjan evam, that all the time he is engaging his mind in this way, evam, in this way. Sukhena brahma sansparsham, that very easily, without any effort, sukhena, with as if it's a very comfortable thing for him, that brahma sansparsham, that he is always in that vicinity of that Brahman, that he is enjoying that proximity, that very intimate proximity with that his own pure nature, Brahman, that consciousness, that delusion is no more near. Brahma Sansparsham. And Atyantam Sukham Ashnuti, that he is like that nectar of immortality, of that freedom, that consciousness, he is consuming it, Ashnute, eating it, or drinking it. Ashnute, that Atyantam Sukham, that acute degree of that happiness, due to this state, such a state, that person will attain, or he attains that through this discipline. That he is constant, because there is, this world is something, becomes very insipid, insignificant, very distant dream. It is no more, nothing is interesting here. This has become pale and faded in that glory of the consciousness, which is so effulgent, glowing within. Who will be interested to look into this world? That's why he is constantly engaging his mind in this way. That person, that individual, that yogi, who is past of, gotten rid of, absolved of, gotten free of all his sins, any karmas whatsoever, nothing binds him, he is absolutely free, nothing has influence over him, nothing drags him, nothing confines him. The taste of freedom, the understanding of that freedom, his absolute freedom, he is enjoying. Yogi Vigata Kalmasha, that very comfortably, that he is in the vicinity, in the deepest intimacy of that consciousness, one with that consciousness, Brahma Bhutam, here Brahma Sansparsham, as if that consciousness is able to touch like a real thing. So intimately he has become, he is enjoying. So, and that acute, the very highest degree of Atyantam, that highest degree of that happiness, he is able to enjoy that Sukham, as if that Sukha, he is consuming it. So, this is the state of that realization. It was said in the life of Buddha that when he had attained nirvana under that Bodhi tree in Gaya, when towards the morning he had that deep experience, whole night he was struggling with the demons rising from his own mind, and he resolves, Buddha resolves, that he will not leave the seat. That those demons in the mind, they are trying to upset him to leave the seat. And Buddha resolves that even what may happen, he will not leave the seat. And towards the end of the night, they leave him alone, and he is ushered into that nirvana, that highest realization. And when he comes out of that state, when its influence, when its intoxication has little calmed down, has little faded, has little ebbed, still its influence, still its joy, it was so intense, it was so solid, so heavy upon his mind, that he could not digest it, come to terms with it. He had never, no person, no human being had experienced something like that ever. And he did not know what to do, and in that state he kept on walking for days together. he was pacing there. That was the state of the Buddha. So, this is what is stated from the experiences. Not many people can digest this experience. Not mostly. Ordinary people, through lots of tapasya, this rigorous discipline, life after life, and with the help of, by the help of his sadhana, with the help of this nature, inside and out, by the kind grace of his Guru and all Mahapurushas. So he attains that state. Sri Ramakrishna says that attaining such state, all ordinary people, they leave this body in 21 days. They cannot come out of it. Sri Ramakrishna explained this state as like a salt doll who goes to measure the depth of the ocean. Once it enters into it, it dissolves into it. Can you separate that salt of the doll from that ocean water? You cannot. That's how it becomes one. It does not keep any separate identity. How can it gather itself back and come out of it? So this becomes the state, the affair of the mind, when it enters into such state, very higher state. Only Sri Ramakrishna says only the beings of the higher category, Ishwar Koti or Ishwar Avatar, who have come to this earth with some special mission and they have some work to do, they attain this experience, and still because that work has to be done, prarabdha is yet to be extinguished, they come back, and with this renewed light and energy and power, they gives direction to that, set in the direction of that goal, of that which the divine shows them, the way which they understand it clearly what they have to do, and they sets out in that direction. So this is the state of the higher beings. So now in these two verses, 27 and 28 verses, Bhagavan Krishna, in very beautiful, in very enthralling words, he puts this idea of this maturity, the fruit of the yoga. And now from here, from 29th verse to 32nd verse, we will see that all of a sudden, so his words as if a totally different track, as if a different gear, as if he's talking about a different subject. He is now speaking about the experience, what this yogi will attain to, what he will enjoy. Means these are mostly what you see, that the state of his mind, which is the internal experience, and how it will be the external experience. Now that will be told, that will be described in these following 4 verses. So this matter, these are extraordinarily beautiful verses. They shows the epitome of this realization, of this non-duality. When through yoga, that yogi, he attains by the great good fortune and by the blessings of all Guru Mahatmas and Devas, and by his own effort, by his monumental Himalayan effort, he becomes successful. And how it appears, that we will see from the next class, in the form of verses number 29 to 32. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.